Please, someone, we need help! There's an armiger injured on the road outside Seydanin. So much blood! They need help! I'm not exactly sure. The buoyant armiger was accompanying Canon Valasar on a mission for Lord Vivek, but something terrible must have happened. Canon Valasar sent me to find help. She's on the road just outside of Seydanin. Will you help them?
Forgive me, Outlander, but I have enough to deal with. I'm just a simple tribunal priest, and the trouble at the Ancestral Tomb was too much for even our buoyant armiger to deal with. I have failed Lord Vivek, and left a colleague alone at the tomb. Lord Vivek sent the three of us to seek guidance at the Andrano Ancestral Tomb. We were attacked when we got there, and our guard was seriously hurt. I barely got her to safety. But we failed to complete the mission Lord Vivek bestowed upon us. Canon Levoul. He remained behind after we retreated from the tomb. I know he wants to get back inside and ask Lord Vivek's questions. But there's no way he can get past the Daedra, or ask the questions on his own. May the three grant him wisdom.
Talizer, what's wrong? Someone help!
By the three! First a wounded armiger, now this!
By dawn and dusk, evil creeps through the shadows of my beloved Vardenfell. But an outlander arrives to aid my people, just as I have foreseen.
What do they mean? What happened? Merciful Azura, the Mother Soul spoke through you. It's a miracle!
Lord Vivek down. Those monsters, it's too dangerous. What am I going to do? Did Canon Valasar send you? Oh, she did, didn't she? That means she made it to Seydanin. Vivek be praised. Will you help me complete my mission? It would be sacrilege if I don't enter my family's tomb and make Lord Vivek's inquiries. As the saints declare, the tribunal always provides. We'll need to be cautious, however. Daedra invaded the tomb. Makes it hard to talk to one's ancestors while monsters try to eat you. I'll also need your help when we reach the summoning chamber. Take this scroll with Lord Vivek's inquiries. While I summon forth my ancestor spirit and concentrate on maintaining the connection, you must ask the questions. He insists we use the exact phrasing. We can go inside when you're ready. We're really going to do this. I wish I knew how Daedra got into my family tomb, but I'm sure you can handle them. At least you know they're there. They ambushed poor Armiger Urnsi. Took her completely by surprise. Follow me. I'll open the door. Follow me, but keep an eye out for those Daedra. creatures attacked as soon as we entered the Hall of Remembrance. This used to be such a peaceful place. I came here as a young acolyte to meditate. We're nearly there. Then we can summon my ancestor. The summoning chamber. I'll call forth my ancestor, then you can ask Vivek's questions.
Hasn't my rest been disturbed enough by those filthy Daedra? Why don't you summon me, descendant?
My Lord Vivek has inquiries that only you can answer, my lady. My companion will present them with your permission.
The warrior poet? Very well. Ask Vivek's questions. Ask the warrior poet's questions, Outlander. Ah, Lord Vivek always had a way with words. Tell him to rest assured. The heart remains safe. I wonder why that concerns him. Ask the remaining questions as my time here is short. An enemy of old, yes, but not the one that Vivek presumes. Sotha Sil imagined multiple scenarios and contemplated endless solutions. He even experimented with his divinity, drawing energy to study before returning it. Loss will come, he foresaw, but not until the collapse of the temple. Now, back to sleep.
I hope that's what Lord Vivek needed. Let's talk outside.
Did we hear that?
The Master promised treasures, but all I see is dust.
Bro, he did it! Did we hear that?
Thank you for helping me complete my task. Now, I need to return to Vivek City. Have you been there? It's amazing. Ziggurats rising out of the water, the moonlit hanging in the sky above. Yeah, you should meet me there so I can introduce you to Lord Vivek. Just between us, I understood neither the questions asked nor the answers received. Not that I expected to. Some things aren't meant for mortal minds. That's another reason for you to come to Vivek City, to help me explain what my ancestors said. Excellent. I just need to make a quick stop in ZeniMax to check on my original traveling companions. When you get to Vivek City, head right to the palace and I'll meet you there. I know that Lord Vivek will want to reward you for assisting me. I'll be along shortly. When you get to Vivek City, head directly for Lord Vivek's palace. Once there, I'll make introductions and we can tell the warrior poet everything we've learned. Of course. As I said, the tribunal consists of our three living gods, Vivek, Almalexia, and Sotha Sil. They lead us in spiritual matters and rule over Dunmere society as god monarchs of the Dark Elves. I serve Vivek, but honor the entire tribunal. Unfortunately, no. The Dunmer houses bow to the tribunal, but the savage Ashlanders refuse to acknowledge their divinity. The heretics never allowed themselves to be assimilated into the great houses. Instead, they hold to primitive superstitions. You look like... Please, Vivek! This is the person who helped me at the tomb, my lord.
Lord Vivek, we don't need the help of this outlander.
Oh, hush, Archcanon Tarvis. Outlanders have their usefulness, and this one intrigues me.
As you say, I'll be in my office if you need me.
Step forward, friend of Laboul, and let us speak. Canon Leveul says you helped him in his mission. As I have written, the one who helps my ally becomes my friend. Despite the Archcanon's concerns, I greet you with sincerity and pose a simple question. Will you assist us further, Outlander? I have ordinators and armigers at my disposal. Vast armies of followers and dedicated priests. What I don't have, however, is a fresh perspective. Will you set aside your personal goals for a time and become the eyes and ears of a god? Good. I need assistance to investigate a strange phenomenon that the Ancestor confirmed may indeed be a problem. We'll start with a simple divination ritual. Archcanon Tarvis can tell you what we need to delve into this mystery.
Ah, Outlander. Lord Vivek trusts too much to put his faith in one such as you. But who am I to question my god? I suppose he sent you to me so I could put you to work? Did he say which task he wants us to accomplish first? Ah, yes. We do need to perform a ritual to reveal the nature of the phenomenon that vexes Lord Vivek. Now listen closely. I hate to repeat myself. Despite my objections, Vivek believes you were sent to help, so I'll do my best to assist you. Go to the ziggurat that's still under construction and tell the Overseer that Lord Vivek requires the Blessing Stone. Then bring it to me in the palace. You receive a simple errand in the service of Lord Vivek, and countless questions form unbidden in your mind. Very well. Go ahead. Ask your questions. It's not like I'm the busy arch-canon of a living god or anything. Ah, the ignorance of Outlanders. How refreshing. The Blessing Stones serve as repositories for small amounts of Lord Vivek's power. They allow his favor to permeate sanctified locations. We need such a stone to power the divination ritual. If you haven't guessed yet, the phenomenon interferes with Lord Vivek's power in unusual ways. It will be safer for everyone if I perform the ritual by using the Blessing Stone instead of drawing on my Lord's personal store of energy. Even if I told you, you wouldn't comprehend it. Lord Vivek's senses eclipse those of mere mortals. Suffice it to say, he feels a disturbance in the flow of energy throughout Vardenfell. He seeks to discover the source of that disturbance. Offend me? You give yourself too much credit. No, I feel the same about all Outlanders. This is tribunal business, best handled by tribunal resources. However, I also obey my Lord Vivek, so I will tolerate your involvement and do my best to aid you. Lord Vivek sees signs and portents everywhere. It's the poet at his core. I tend to be much more pragmatic. Sometimes a volcano is simply a volcano, and not a harbinger of doom. As for the Daedra, I have no idea. Perhaps the summoning got out of hand.
This project has been nothing but one disaster after another. How am I expected to get this ziggurat built on time when things constantly go wrong? Don't mind me. I'm just having one of those days. Our Blessing Stone? Do you know what happens if we give up our Blessing Stone? Well, neither do I. But I'm sure it won't put us back on schedule or end our string of disasters. I'm not one to disagree with the Archcanon, but that's a terrible idea. Lord Vivek? Why didn't you say so? But I'll need your help before I can turn over the Blessing Stone. The passage that leads to the consecration chamber collapsed, trapping some of my workers. If you can clear the way, you can borrow the stone. I appreciate the help. Just remember that you're only borrowing the stone. It needs to be back in the consecration chamber before the next shift, or we'll never get this ziggurat constructed in time.
Thank you. I'll go tell the Overseer what you did for me. Praise Vivek!
The Outlander returns. I understand there was trouble at the construction site, but you were able to save a few of the workers. Lord Vivek always draws the straightest arrow from the quiver. Praise the Tribunal. Did you bring the Blessing Stone? And reveal the source of Lord Vivek's distress. Clockwork Mage. A Daedric cultist. Something interfered with the ritual, my lord. But we may have learned something. Excuse me while I compare the results to our previous research.
Between the cryptic warnings of the Ancestor Spirit and the unexpected result of the divination ritual, I fear there may be more astir than I imagined. We solved the greatest mysteries by accident, I suspect. I should write that down. We learn from every action we take. Failure or success, each result teaches us something, at least in the larger sense. To be more specific, no, not as much as I hoped. Images that suggest avenues to investigate, riddles to solve. Let me tell you a secret, Outlander. It concerns a living god, an energy that fades like daylight as dusk spreads across the land. Listen well, and speak not a word. My divine energy, it drains away. Whether from illness or foul malady, I know not. You must travel the land and seek answers on my behalf. But first, gratitude before service, as I have written. So thank you. The ritual confirmed my worst fears. Divine energy flows out of me for no reason that I can discern. I felt the power imbued within my blessing stone get wrenched away as soon as you added it to the ritual. I couldn't stop it. To quote my own words as the warrior poet, No lock exists that the determined thief cannot open. Follow the trail of my missing energy, and try to discover the identity of the enemy Levoul's ancestor warned us about. Something drains my energy. Find Archcanon Tarvis in his office, and ask if he gleaned anything useful from the ritual. If not, I know his earlier research indicated new avenues to investigate. Go where he tells you, and learn what you can. My divine energy diminishes with every passing moment, but the ritual confirmed my affliction is not natural. I regret that I could not reveal the full nature of these dire circumstances until your trustworthiness had been demonstrated. Yes, while Archcanon Tarvis has always been cautious about ideas and ideologies that didn't originate within the Tribunal. And recently, that prudence has grown 1,000-fold. He's a faithful servant, however, despite his narrow-mindedness. At first, I barely noticed the loss of energy. But as I continue to grow weaker, the more it feels like an attack against my person. Besides, the Ancestor Spirit confirmed that an ancient enemy was to blame. We just need to determine who, before... Let us not dwell on disasters to come when we have problems enough to deal with in the here and now. Consult with Archcanon Tarvis and discover the source of this attack. Then we can put an end to it and not worry about what might have been.
I performed that ritual countless times, and it never exploded in my face before. If I discover that you sabotage the divination... No. I shouldn't take my failure out on you. It's not your fault that things are... difficult. How do you know about... Lord Vivek told you? Of course he did. It's his prerogative, I suppose. You must swear to keep this secret, though. There would be panic in the streets if the people believed one of the Tribunal was incapacitated. It's true. I'm much better at scholarly pursuits than fieldwork. And the ritual wasn't a total failure. It confirmed 3 locations from my earlier studies. Bolmora, Aldrin, and Barrelzar's Tower. I need you to investigate each of these sites. Haven't you left yet? The sites at Bolmora, Aldrin, and Barrelzar's Tower aren't going to investigate themselves.
piqued your interest, have I? Capital. My brother Benar and I share ownership of the mine, but I suspect he's hiding something from me. The little weasel's even locked down the entrance. Only his personal guards are allowed inside. There are only 2 keys to the mine. Benar keeps one in our manor house. The other is carried by the mine's foreman, Nox. I want you to procure a key, either one, and then search the mine for any sign of mischief. Report back with your findings. Foreman Nox is somewhere in Balmora. Should be simple enough to pluck the key from his pockets. Or, if you prefer burglary, you could take my brother's key from the desk in his study. Our manor is just up the hill to the west of town. My dear brother prefers to keep our roles in the business separate. He runs the mine while I handle the finances. He doesn't interfere with my work, nor I his. That's the agreement. Oh, I have, but Benar tells me nothing. It's just secure more buyers and hire more workers. He gets dreadfully annoyed when I press him about my concerns. Like, why do we need so many miners? Even the townsfolk are starting to talk about that. You haven't heard the rumors? The cursed mine of Vasir Didenot, they call it. They go in, but they don't come out. Just inane ghost stories, truth be told. But if the rumors persist, it could soil our reputation. Well, the key should be no trouble. My brother is away at the moment, and the house guards are not exactly the keenest. If you choose to pickpocket the foreman, well, just avoid the city watch, I suppose.
I can't believe they want us to go outside the house to find Vaya.
If I lost it, I'll never forgive myself.
You look like the traveling sort. In your excursions, have you perchance come upon a young dark elf named Vale? She went missing a couple of weeks ago and her father desperately seeks any information regarding her whereabouts.
Please, this one needs to get out of here. Those cultists, they're insane.
All right, but keep your voice down. I'll be ready to leave soon enough. In the meantime, if anyone asks, we're just here to haul cargo.
What? Who? This one is just here to haul cargo. Cultists? But this one said nothing about cultists. Perhaps you are thinking of another Khajiit. Look, Renaku just wants to leave all these crazy dark elves behind and find a safer mine to work in. The Shulk ore mine is cursed. Really? You? Just leave Renaku out of it. If you want to know what happened so badly, just go out to the Shulk ore mine and see for yourself.
All I will.
I love seeing new faces. For a while, it was just the same old miners and the occasional traveling merchant. Thought Carolon might have to shut this place down. Look at me talking your ears off. What can I get you? At first, I assumed it was the usual house squabbles. Redrin and Hlalu arguments can get pretty heated. Then I thought maybe the Ashlanders were scaring people off. But after that proclamation... No, I'd rather not talk about that with a stranger.
I like the color of your gold, Outlander. Just between us, I heard the House Guard shut down the Shulk ore mine. Something to do with violent cultists who attacked the miners and took over the place. Even got the crew chief, or so I heard.
didn't recognize you. You've made a terrible mistake in coming here. Do you feel it yet? The cold rush through your veins, the stiffness in your joints. Only a matter of time now. Only a matter of time. You really haven't figured it out. You're denser than those stone fiends. Master Rethan brought me on to study a Daedric text, a formula for turning living flesh into a substance akin to ebony. Not a perfect match, but close enough. Something like that. But what does it matter? I'll be frozen solid soon, black as midnight. A commodity, nothing more. Ironic. You mean to rob me, I suppose. The scroll's just there. Have a care with it. Wealth always comes at a price. What? Afflicting all these miners? Oh, spare me your crude moral outrage. They were wastrels, laborers that were too ignorant or too lazy to find work anywhere else. This is as meaningful a contribution as they were likely to make. None. I'd invite you to kill me, but given that I'll be dead soon anyway, it's hardly worth the effort. Why do you even care? Oh, fine. I altered the formula, turning the liquid decoction into a vapor. It proved to be very effective. Unfortunately, it was nearly impossible to contain. Hence, this. None. Well, none that I've discovered anyway. I speak modestly when I say that if there was a cure, I would have found it already. I guess I could squander my remaining hours searching for a remedy, but I'm an alchemist, a daedrologist. We don't trouble ourselves with things like hope. I leave that nonsense to priests and children, the mentally ill.
Ah, I'm glad to see you made it back in one piece. So, what have you learned? Anything? What? Well, that sounds ghastly. To think that my own brother would be capable of such a thing. We must move quickly. Did you find any evidence? I'll need something concrete if I'm to convince the Hlalu trade barons to intercede. Well done. I have a final task for you, if you're willing. I must take this to the trade baron, Councillor Ryveth. He's staying at the Balmora Inn. Alas, Benna has many contacts in town. If he hears that I'm meeting Riveth, he may try to flee. Travel to the Rethan Manor House and detain Benna. Once I've explained matters to Riveth, he'll send Hlalu constables to collect my brother. After this, I'll ask nothing more of you. You have my word. That the men I worked tirelessly to hire were being used as fodder for some vile experiment? Absolutely not. It's appalling. Why would I have sent you to discover what was going on if I already knew? Yes, I hired him at my brother's insistence. Something about valuable books and scrolls found in the shrine. We planned to sell them off once Gavros translated them. That's what I thought, anyway. Wait. Gavros is still alive? I see. That is unfortunate. But I suppose that's the risk you take when you start brewing foul decoctions and poisoning innocent miners. Not long. He tends to be brusque. Once I've explained the situation, he'll waste no time bringing Benna in for questioning. It will be brief, I assure you. They will punish him severely. He'll definitely lose his share of the estate and the ebony mine. He may even lose his life. In either case, I'll have to bear the weight of our family assets alone.
Piece of the puzzle. Time to tie up loose ends.
Stupid dog.
What happened? Let me see. I just tried to pet it. Damn dog. Leave it alone. There's something strange about that dog.
Rethan. What a swit. I'm going to need a stiffer drink. You don't appear to be holding my drink, so I'm sure I have no interest in you. Off with you. I am. Young Mahler and I were talking about the sudden success of his mining enterprise, built on some irregularities that I'd prefer not to discuss. Not that it's any of your business.
Who are you? Why are you meddling in Hlalu business? My. This is damning. Dear Mala tried to hang this whole business around his brother's neck. And yours. A prudent, albeit sloppy affair. House Hlalu can ill afford such a scandal, and I hate to be lied to. Kill Mala, and I will reward you. What would I do with him? Chain him to a post? His life no longer serves the house's interests. I don't expect an outlander to understand, but this needs to be done. Honestly, I doubt he'll give you a choice in the matter. His city residence, I expect, just across the river. Do be quick about this. I'm anxious to be done with the Brothers Rethan. By the three, what a mess. I'll put some of my Oathman on it. Oathman I can trust. If we can clear out the riffraff, it might be salvageable. If not, we'll simply collapse the thing. Better to bury it than let some fool stumble upon Marla's folly. No. What scroll? Don't tell me there's more to this fetching disaster. Does it now? Listen carefully. Don't breathe a word of this to anyone else. If Marla has this formula on him, bring it to me. The reward will be significant. We cannot let this get out, and we cannot let it fall into the wrong hands.
Stupid dog.
What happened? Let me see.
I just tried to pet it. Damn dog bit me.
Leave it alone.
You! How did you... I'll finish this myself. quietly now. Is it finished? Well then, this unfortunate little tale comes to an end. I've already dispatched some of my best agents to clean up Rethon Manor. We'll tend to Marla's apartment and the mine next. Well done. Now, what of this mysterious scroll? Excellent. Best hand it over to me. Something so dangerous should not fall into the wrong hands. House Thlalu can keep it safe, or destroy it if we deem it necessary. This will earn you some favor with our house. I'll even double your pay. You've proven to be a reliable assistant. House Thlalu values reliability. I would say it's been a pleasure, but this whole affair has left me with quite a headache. Still, I may call upon you again in the future. Here, double pay as promised.
Stupid dog. What happened?
Let me see.
I just tried to pet it. Damn dog bit me.
Leave it alone.
You shouldn't be here. Didn't you read the House Redarin proclamation? I wouldn't be here myself, but some of my miners are still in there. Our mine was invaded by violent cultists. They showed up and just took the place over. My people are trapped. I'm no expert, but it looked like the cultists were preparing to conduct a ritual before the Ashlander interrupted them. Probably because I heard one of them say, "With this ritual we'll call forth a mystical weapon and attain the power of a god." Or something along those lines. Look, I was just trying to get me and my miners out of there when the Ashlanders showed up. Really? That's awfully brave of you. If you see any of my miners, tell them to get their arses out here. I'll wait as long as I can. Or until I hear screaming. Then I'll go to Balmora and try to find some help. Good luck.
You don't look like one of those crazy cultists, and you certainly aren't one of our miners. So by Vivek's holy nose hairs, who in Oblivion are you? Really? Then forget I said anything about His Holiness' nasal preening. They're some sort of Daedric cultists. They've been performing rituals, calling forth divine power, some such nonsense. At least they were, before the Ashlanders showed up. The savages barged into the deep chambers, seemed to know about the hidden passage and everything, stole the relic the cultists were praying over, and ran for the hills. As a matter of fact, that's where I'm going, as soon as it's safe to leave.
Did you find what you were looking for in the mine? Of course. I perfectly understand. I think I'll wait a little longer and see if any of my miners were able to escape from the cultists. Good luck with your mission, whatever it is.
I demand to see my brother. Lay hands upon me, and you will lose them. You there! The territory of the Red Exiles shouldn't be traveled lightly. Ashlanders once respected each other, helped one another. You'd think these were house wolves or tribunal dogs, the way they treated me. Speaking of the tribunal, you have the smell of dog about you. I wonder why that is. Lord Vivec, is it? And I thought all the tribunal cared about was building monuments to their own greatness. Nice to see that one of them cares about what's going on beyond their borders. Well, perhaps we can aid each other this day, Outlander. Ashlanders are nomads, but we gather at sacred sites to trade, confer, and pay homage to the past. Aldrin is such a place. That's why Chodala invited the Red Exiles here. But these outcasts won't let me into their camp. I need to find my brother. My brother, Chodala, is the Ashkan of our tribe, and I am his ambassador. I act as a go-between among the tribes. Chodala wants to unite the Dunmer, and calmly end the era of the bickering houses. He hopes to convince the tribes to follow his lead. Head into the Red Exiles camp and find my brother. Otherwise, see if you can find out what he was doing in there and where he's gone. Be wary of the outcasts. As you saw, they won't hesitate to attack without reason or provocation. You seem to have survived your visit to the Red Exiles camp. Did you find my brother? Interesting. I never suspected that the outcasts were disciplined enough to keep records such as this. Oh no. I can't believe my brother would be so... brazen. It means that Chodala really has changed. With his newfound powers and rising ambitions, I fear what he plans for the tribes. I suppose you have a right to know what I'm talking about. Take this. I found it among my brother's possessions. Chodala discovered new power out in the wilderness, and it changed his view of the world. He writes about it in that document. Now he believes he's a Nerevarine, and incites the tribes while I try to keep them all from doing anything rash. All I know is that his new power frightens me. Chodala returned from a sojourn in the wilderness more vibrant, more commanding. He's always been strong, but now he's fearless, practically invincible, and swifter than the fastest Ashlander scout. Chodala says his new abilities strengthen his claim as the Nerevarine. I think it's the staff he carries. He had it when he returned, and now it's always at his side. I know it's unreasonable, but I hate that staff. He calls it Sunara. While the prophecy of the Nerevarine can be interpreted as the end of the tribunal, I have always seen it as a prediction of hope and peace. Chodala and some Ashlanders, such as the Red Exiles, favor war. That's not the Nerevarine I believe in. He uses an Ashkon's words to plant dark ideas in his followers. Ideas that speak of false gods, lost traditions, and the need for a cleansing war. His words become more forceful every day, but I hope to dissuade him from this violent course.
Such a cozy little home.
Welcome to the Guild Hall, Knowledge Seeker. What brings you here today?
We're book hunters of a sort. We seek out new information, capture it in our libraries, and make copies for distribution across Tamriel. The Guild doesn't care about battlefields or boundaries, just knowledge and the acquisition of new tomes.
We provide training in unique spells and abilities only available to members.
And from time to time, projects crop up for those with an adventuresome spirit. You may end up working with the Guildmaster himself. Excellent. You are now a student of the Mages Guild. Every book you find will now earn you reputation in the Guild.
Such displeasure and disappointment. Nothing works, even though every calculation is precise. Now an interruption. How infuriating. Wait. Sometimes the great gear turns from frustration to opportunity. Divine energy. I'll have you know I participated in Lord Sother Seal's 9 analyses of the Exalted Enigmas. But we have more important matters. I'm about to determine the correlation between color and time, and I could use another set of hands. A reciprocal exchange. Interesting, yes. I can see the benefits of such an arrangement. Very well. Just activate the crystals in the proper sequence while I modulate the energy flow. Less chance of an explosion that way. You activate the crystals. Look for pure light, not muddled. I'll modulate the energy fluctuations, make sure. Good help is as rare as the legendary Last Dwemer, but the clockwork is only as strong as its weakest cog. Just work your way up the rainbow. If the color isn't clear, examine the crystals. Start with the simplest shape and end with the most complex. No! Reset the mechanism and try again. Smoke instead of light. Reaction not in the proper sequence. Try again. You activate the crystals. Look, good help is as rare as the legendary Last Dwemer, but a clockwork is only as strong. Smoke instead of light. Not the reaction I was hoping for. Proper sequence. Try again. No! Reset the mechanism and try again. Activated, but not in the proper sequence. Try again. A good start. Keep going. No! Reset the mechanism and try again. A good start. Keep going. Correct. So far, so good. A good start. Keep going. Correct. So far, so good. Smoke instead of light. Not the reaction I was hoping for. You activate the crystal. A good start. Keep going. Correct. So far, so good. But not in the proper sequence. Try again. A good start. Keep going. So far, smoke instead of light. Not the reaction I was hoping for. A good start. Keep going. Correct. So far, like clockwork you are. Close, very close. One more to go. Yes, I love it when the gears align. Perfect. Such are the benefits of an extra set of appendages. The energy flows freely and without disruption, allowing the rods and the pistons to align in a most pleasing manner. Thank you. Now, why do you want to know about divine energy? Scent. How intriguing. I was just thinking about my former master, Soka Seal, and the experiments we conducted. He desperately sought to understand the power he and his companions attained, especially whether or not that power was temporary. Not while I assisted him. He had a tool that he used to drain away minute bits of his own divine energy to store and study. He could extract it and return it as he saw fit. Not sure what became of the tool, but here are my notes from those days.
Outlander, over here! This requires a considerable amount of effort, so just listen. We have a problem here. Return to my office immediately. At last. Did you see what's happening outside? Red Mountain rumbles louder and more frequently. The sky grows dark, and worst of all, the people are beginning to notice. Soon I'll have to muster the Ordinators to keep them from the palace doors. In part, Lord Vivec is... not well. I won't allow his followers to see him in this state. He continues to lose energy, and it's becoming difficult for him to maintain the realm in his usual fashion. Now, what did your investigations uncover? I'll review these documents and present your findings to Lord Vivec. I was against bringing you into this investigation, but I was wrong. Thank you for aiding us. You should go see Lord Vivec now. He's been asking about you. I'll be along shortly. Very well. Tell me what you learned at each of the locations, and let's see what conclusions we can come to. Barrelzar faithfully served Sothasil. He's as loyal to the Tribunal as I am. He would never intentionally harm Lord Vivec. But that tool he mentioned... perhaps one of the priests Vivec sent away could search the temple archives for more information. Lord Vivec doesn't want his followers to see him in such a weakened state. Only you, Canon Levuel, and myself are permitted into his palace now. Speaking of the palace, Lord Vivec wants to see you when we're done here.
I demand you make way and let me see Lord Vivec.
Lord Vivec isn't receiving visitors today.
My lord, please let me send for aid. Perhaps one of the healers can help you.
Pain is best tolerated in private, as I have written in the 37th ballad.
There must be something I can do.
You can call the Archcanon. He should hear the news our friend brings us. The river drains into the sea, as my divinity flows out of me. Needs some work. As you can see, I continue to lose energy, and it has made me somewhat agitated. Have you made any progress toward discovering the source of my discomfort? An Ashlander? That seems unlikely, but I trust your instincts. We need to find out more about this Chodala and the ancient enemy that aids him. Take this. Another token of my appreciation. And look, here comes the Archcanon now.
My lord, the Outlander may have actually discovered something. Not exactly. But now that we know that the affliction isn't natural, we can work toward a solution. One that probably involves Chodala's staff. How the Ashlander got his hands on Sothasil's tool and turned it into a weapon is beyond me, though. Eventually, but we need to be cautious. If Chodala is as respected as you say, attacking him would start a war we can't afford to partake in. Go to Aldrin and talk to his sister, Saren. I don't trust her either, but she worked with you before. Get to Aldrin and locate Saren. She needs to tell us more about Chodala, and then help us acquire his staff. Without it, we can't restore Vivec. Meanwhile, I need to placate the populace. The people grow concerned over Vivec's continuing isolation.
down on my luck.
House Talvani still keeps slaves?
How else do those lazy mages accomplish anything?
You look like you could use a drink.
Outlander, quickly! This way! I've been thinking about my brother's claim that he's the Nerevarine since we last spoke. No matter how I try, the word tastes false on my tongue. And now I fear he's about to convince the wise woman that his quest for power will benefit the tribes. My brother is respected and revered. He has allies in all of the tribes, not to mention his personal Red Exiles. We have to proceed with caution. Respect the Ashlander customs and traditions. Anything else will lead to violence and bloodshed. We talked to my brother. Tried to convince him this isn't the way. Barring that, we make sure the wise woman doesn't get drawn into his madness. Whatever Chodala says or does, don't attack him. We don't need a war between the houses and the Ashlanders. The wise woman. I was hoping she'd be here.
You're too late, dear sister. Despite your protestations, the wise woman has gone to the Cave of the Incarnate to confirm my claim.
Brother, Do you really want to pursue this dangerous course?
There was a time when you gave me your unconditional support, Seren. I miss those days.
My brother Chodala's about to do something foolish and dangerous. But by dusk and dawn, Azura put you and I on the same path for a purpose. I just hope we have enough time. He's about to claim the title of the Nerevarine and try to unite the Ashlander tribes gathered here. He already convinced the Red Exiles to support him. He's using them to intimidate the other tribes. If he persuaded the Wise Woman to his cause. Wise Woman Dovrasi, the most respected counselor and spirit guide this side of Red Mountain. She went to the Cavern of the Incarnate to meditate on Chodala's claim. If she confirms my brother's assertion, the tribes will follow wherever he leads. Agreed, but I dare not leave Chodala alone with the tribes. I feel the hand of Azura in all this. Go to the Cavern of the Incarnate and talk to the Wise Woman. I'll stay here and try to keep things under control until you return. The cavern's to the northeast of Aldrin, on the other side of the mountain. Hopefully, the rumbling and lava won't slow you down too much. Get to the cavern and talk to the Wise Woman. If she accepts Chodala's claim about the Nerevarine... The tribes won't decide it.
She won't refuse my claim. Just in case, make sure the Red Exiles are ready.
Your word is law, Nerevarine.
This isn't right.
Azura is my shield, you foul creatures. Thank you for aiding me, but I sense you came for a different purpose. Let's talk inside the cavern. An outlander? Surely there must be another way. No, my lady, of course not. I'll do as you ask. Come here, outlander. We must talk. It feels strange to talk to an outlander in such a sacred place, but the Queen of the Night Sky insists.
I need to render judgment on an important claim, and she says you can help me reach the correct decision. Words of truth from the mouth of an outlander. Remarkable. The Red Exiles and a few others believe that Chodola is the Nerevarine. He's convinced them, but not me. I came here to consider my options. I fear a bloodbath if I oppose his claim. Perhaps, but I must remain impartial. If someone else reveals the flaws in Chodola's claims by comparing him to the failed incarnates, that might do the trick. We thought the incarnates were possessed by the spirit of Nerevar, but each had a critical flaw that made them destined to fail to fulfill the prophecy. Their spirits reside here. Yes, you should speak to the incarnates. I see Azura's wisdom now. Take this pouch of blessed grave dust. Sprinkle a pinch upon the bones of the incarnates to call forth their spirits. Return to Aldrin after you have learned all you can. Perhaps we can curb Chodola's ambitions before they lead us to war. We need knowledge to defeat Chodola, Outlander. Listen well to what the failed incarnates have to say. Once I was the hope of my people, but then my claim was proven false. Now I wait, and I hope for the Nerevarion's return. State your question, Outlander, and I shall do as Azura urges. To fulfill the prophecy, I followed a path of blood and war. In the end, my path became a road that led nowhere, and I was cast down from my lofty spot. Take my scroll, and help the wise woman understand the futility of a senseless war.
The Nerevarine remains a promise unfulfilled, and I am as guilty of prideful posturing as every other failed incarnate that occupies this hall. Ask your question and let's be done with this, Outlander. The Nerevarine must listen as well as proclaim. I refuse to accept wise counsel, which led to the doom of my tribe and the end of my quest to embody the spirit of Nerevar. Take my scroll and remind the wise woman that wisdom ignored is ignorance.
We are the failed incarnates, the Ashlanders who proudly proclaimed themselves to be the Nerevarine, but were found wanting. The Lady of Dawn and Dusk urged us to cooperate. So ask your question, Outlander. Take my scroll and help the wise woman see the lie of unbridled power. I thought myself the reborn Nerevar, for I was the strongest, most powerful warrior in all the land. But power alone won't save my people. In the end, it couldn't even save me.
Mortal, let us speak. I foresaw your usefulness before you even set foot in Vardenfell. Now comes a test that will challenge your ability to separate truth from lies. You must convince the tribes that Chodola is not the Nerevarine. Doversee's wisdom outshines most other mortals. She recognizes the futility of Chodola's claim. If she rebuffs him, however, the tribes will turn on each other, and blood will flow. The staff, Sunra, it makes Chodola confident, reckless. Your instincts serve you well. Chodala's path took a dark turn. However, my sight clouds when I look too closely. Sothasil built Sunara, but he did not create it with this vile purpose in mind. You must act on my behalf, and Vivek's. Then go. Return to Aldrun and help the wise woman reveal the falsehood of Chodala's claim. And let Saren assist you. She is my champion and a trusted friend of all Ashlanders.
the moon and star. You've returned. The wise woman returned from the cavern of the Incarnate and went right into Scar to meet with the tribes. Chodal is in there too, about to be named the Nerevarine. Tell me you came back with something to stop my brother's rise to power. Ah, of course. Use the tales of the failed Incarnates to counter Chodal's arguments. That's brilliant. Well, except for one problem. An Outlander has no status in the Council. The Ashlanders won't listen to a word you say. Someone else has to present the arguments. Someone they trust. I suppose that means I have to challenge my brother. With your help, of course. You spoke to the Incarnates, not me. I'm familiar with their stories, but I'll need you to help me choose the appropriate argument to counter each of Chodala's claims. I hate opposing my brother in this. I just don't see another way. Incarnate Runso was strong and powerful. He thought that by strength alone, he could unite the Ashlanders. He failed. When Chodala proclaims his power, that's when we'll refer to this scroll's sad tale. Incarnate Adiri was a champion of my people. She defended us against great threats. But when she grew to love war for war's sake, she proved she wasn't the Nerevarine. When Chodala proclaims that war is the answer, hand me this scroll. Incarnate Darnot thought his way was the best way. He rejected the counsel of the Wise Women and the Ashkans, something Nerevar would never do. When Chodala proclaims he knows better than anyone, we'll use this scroll. Incarnate Runso was strong and powerful. He thought that by strength alone, he could unite the Ashlanders. He failed. When Chodala proclaims his power, that's when we'll refer to this scroll's sad tale. Incarnate Adiri was a champion of my people. She defended us against great threats. But when she grew to love war, Incarnate Runso was strong and Incarnate Darnot thought his way was the best way. He rejected the counsel of the Wise Women and the Ashkans. Meet me inside.
Must we continue this farce? It's obvious that I'm the Nerevarine.
Someone has stepped forward to challenge your claim, Chodala.
Seren, I'm disappointed in you, dear sister.
Enough. I shall hear your arguments and render my decision.
Even the Outlander can see that I'm the most powerful Ashkan. My strength alone proves that I am the Nerevarine.
Chodala puts forth his great strength as proof of his claim. Give me the scroll that discounts such a trait for the Nerevarine. Yes, that's a sound argument. Incarnate, appear!
As a warrior and as an Ashkan, I was the most powerful of my age. But for all my strength, I failed my people. Don't follow my example.
The faithless houses dare to threaten our land, but we shall meet them in battle, and I will lead us to victory.
This is more nerve-wracking than I anticipated. Which scroll do you recommend to counter this argument? That makes sense. I'll try that. Incarnate, appear!
I thought the path to the Nerevarine was a path of blood and battle, but my love of war was my undoing. War is not the way.
These failed incarnates prove nothing! I need no counsel but my own, as befits my status as the Nerevarine.
I think it's working. One more strong assertion, and that should do it. Of course. Let's see what happens. Incarnate, appear!
I refuse to accept the counsel of the wise women and the Ashkans. I thought I knew best, but I knew nothing. That is not the way of the Nerevarine.
Seren and the Outlander, their arguments have merit. Chodala, we deny your claim. You are not the Nerevarine.
This proves nothing! Look how the staff protects me! I am the Nerevarine! Red Exiles, slay
Brother, no!
To the side!
Go to my hut and get my healer's sack. Now.
Right away, wise woman.
This proves that Chodala's unfit to lead the Ashlanders. And his claim that he's the Nerevarine, preposterous. That hasn't stopped him and his followers from causing great harm, however. Seren went after him. Please, go help her.
I hate what my brother's become.
Mortal, I would have words with you. Chodala has been revealed as a failed Nerevarine, but that hasn't dissuaded him from his reckless course of action. As long as he wields the staff, he shall be unstoppable. Time is against you, mortal. Even now, Vivek, that pompous usurper, grows increasingly weaker. As much as I deplore him, Vivek cannot fall to Chodala's vile magic. There's another power at work here. One I can't quite put my finger on. Return to Vivek City. Do what you can to aid Vivek. And pay heed to my faithful vessel, Seren. I name her Champion of the Moon and Star. She will play a pivotal role in ending her brother's march toward godhood, if she survives.
That was exhilarating.
I don't like the looks of that sky.
As a god weakens, so too does his city suffer. I know my people grow fearful. Even the Archcanon is distressed. But the energy that remains to me holds the moonlit in the sky. At least for now. So what news does my eyes and ears bring to me? How this upstart Ashlander learned to attune Sotha Seal's tool confounds my understanding. And he dares use my power? Still, your help is appreciated. Every strike and parry takes us one step closer to ending this threat and restoring my vitality.
Due to Lord Vivek's condition, it falls upon us to find a solution. Lord Vivek must conserve his remaining energy, so we need to solve this problem on our own. It all comes back to Chodala. That damned Ashlander's draining the warrior poet's power. We need to stop him and get that damned staff. How should I know? That's not a skill the Tribunal teaches. Return to Barrelzar's tower and get Sotha Seal's former apprentice to come up with some kind of countermeasure. I'm sure he knows more than he's told you. I do have one concern, though. You see right through me, Outlander. I have more worries than a Kwama queen has eggs. I'm talking about Chodala's sister. Seren claims to want to help, to want peace, but I don't trust her. Seek out Barrelzar, but be wary of the Ashlander's sister. We need to stop Chodala, and to do that, we need to find a way to overcome the device he's wielding. Find Barrelzar and make sure that crazy mage provides you with something we can use to save Lord Vivek. Is the bull sure it can bed the Betty? No. But by all accounts, we'll be better off with Sunara in our hands and away from Chodala. That won't be possible, however, as long as the Ashlander remains impervious to every attack.
bold citizen.
Is someone up there? I could use some help down here. Hurry, please. I have a natural aversion to Daedra. So hard to concentrate and maintain schedules when interruptions constantly occur. Don't they know the Great Gear never pauses in its rotations? So that was you up there. I appreciate the assistance. Daedric entities can be very unpredictable. Logic has very little place in the behavior of Daedra, my hopeful associate. Studying the fabric of reality does tend to attract unwanted attention. But these creatures appeared just before you entered my tower. I wonder, why have you returned? Ah, a modification of my master's old experiments, turning a simple tool into a dangerous weapon. Ingenious! Evil, yes, but also quite brilliant. A tonal inverter should counter it. Uses sound waves to temporarily disrupt the flow of energy. No, of course not. I just invented it. I need proper components to build such a device. My hirelings scour the land for materials all the time. Here's a list. Head out the back door and ask them to direct you to these common dwarven components.